Hello everyone, welcome again to the episode. So in today's episode I'm going to share with you first these news that are all related to the Taiwan crisis, the Taiwan situation. So the first one is talking about how the G7 countries are expressing concern about Chinese military drills. Remembers these drills, announced military drills, are coming after the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan against China's warnings. I'm trying to put this into context, so this is not like a provocation, it's a reaction to a series of provocations that the US has been staging for many years and has stepped up in the latest months. So this is a reaction, and now they are concerned about their reaction. So this is the reaction that they are giving, and they created what they call a joint statement. And the joint statement says, we, the G7 foreign ministers of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, the United States of America, and the High Representative of the European Union. So this is what is called the Collective West. In other words, reaffirm our shared commitment to maintain the rules-based international order, peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and beyond. Well, I don't see what is the commitment to maintaining peace and stability. The United States is doing everything to create disorder and war in the region of Taiwan Strait and beyond. So it's completely nonsensical. It's like having said one thing but doing another. No? So it doesn't matter. This joint statement has absolutely no sense. It's completely ridiculous. They continue to say we are concerned by recent and announced threatening actions by the People's Republic of China, particularly live fire exercises and economic coercion. See how when China is doing sanctions, it's called economic coercion. But when they do it against Russia, it's okay, nothing to see here. It's completely biased, double standard. They continue to say which risk unnecessary escalation is again the same topic. Who is escalating? The US is escalating with this continuous freedom of navigation, overflights with military planes, with military vessels, navy, all kinds of provocations. And then when there is a reaction, strong reaction, that was provoked. It was a provoked reaction. Let's not forget that it was not unprovoked reaction. They say there is no justification to use a visit as a pretext for aggressive military activity in the Taiwan Strait, really. Just to put everything into context, what it means is a de facto recognition of the independence of Taiwan. That's what it is. So they are trying to fool everyone into thinking that is nothing, that it means nothing. If it means nothing, then why go? There was no specific agenda for Nancy Pelosi to visit Taiwan. She wasn't going to do anything specific. They say it is normal and routine for legislators from our countries to travel internationally. The PRC's escalatory response risks increasing tensions and destabilizing the region. That's what they say. So it's China who is destabilizing the region, not the G7. We call on the PRC not to unilaterally change the status quo by force in the region and to resolve cross-strait differences by peaceful means. So they continue to say the same thing. It's just nonsense, really. If you don't know, Nancy Pelosi, she met with legislators in Taiwan. She met with the president of Taiwan. She met also with radical people that are basically pro-independence of Taiwan. What they are, people even that are, how to say, that were away from China because in China they were wanted for provocations, for all kinds of activities against China. So she was meeting all these people with all these organizations that are in favor of Taiwan independence, but this will not be covered in the media. This will not be covered in the media. They say Nancy was innocently visiting Taiwan, just to say hi, because there was really no other reason. So that's what they're doing. They're making a statement. That's what they're doing. They're making a statement saying we support the independence movement of Taiwan, and they know the reaction of China was going to come. So far, the reaction of China has been restrained, but like I said before, there will be further actions from China. Certainly will be further actions, maybe not immediately. These exercises are already a big reaction. There are some people speculating that this could be some kind of rehearsal of reunification by force. I don't know if that is exactly true, but also is not completely far-fetched because they have been doing these exercises and is going to create a lot of tensions, and is actually these exercises are creating a de facto blockade of the island of Taiwan. If you remember, we saw this map before of the announced areas where there is going to be these military exercises. This is actually a blockade, a naval blockade, an air blockade. Already China officially warned all airlines that they should not approach Taiwan. So this is a blockade. However long it will last, officially they said it was going to last from August 4th to August 7th. So that's 3 or 4 days, depending on how they are going to do it, how are they going to organize it, and maybe they will do it again. So this is a naval blockade, an air blockade, and this is a big reaction. There is already some economic sanctions against Taiwan. Mostly they have this, they block the export of natural sand to the island. And some people will say, okay, natural sand is not important. It is important because it's used for construction. So that's why it's so significant. Taiwan is importing around, or was importing around 90% of their sand, as far as data from 2007 is reporting. Maybe the percentage is different, but it will be a significant percentage. So if they just ban the exports of sand, and they halted imports of citrus fruit and some sea products from there, and also earlier they banned some kind of pastries from being imported as well. You might think that these are small things, but are actually important for Taiwan. Not the biggest source of income, is probably just a significant hit on the economy of the island, but not critical at the point. They're also banning some organizations from having some cooperation with China, some executives from visiting mainland China. So this is not nothing. Of course, sanctions are going to hurt the economy, and this is exactly what China is planning to do. There has been already reports of some drones that were flying over Taiwan and some cyber attacks. So this is only starting. Is apparently they saw these drones and they warned them. They shot some flares and apparently the drones returned. But this will not stop. This will continue. And there is a report that at least 27 Chinese aircraft flew again into the air defense zone that they called, and they said 22 of them crossed the median line separating the island from China. So this is going to continue, and it's speculated that it will continue for a long time. It won't be a one thing. This will not stop, and it will continue to escalate. It is expected that China will make a move, some kind of move for the unification, but it is expected that China will do some legal changes, even creating maybe a timetable for the official reunification of the Taiwan with mainland China. So all of this is expected to happen. We haven't seen that yet, but it seems like it will not be a secret as far as we know, and of course it will be a huge military conflict, but it seems like China sees no option as a result of all these recent events. There is speculation that Japan might want to become involved if China invades Taiwan. I honestly don't think so. It will just mean destruction for the Japanese. It will be, of course, a horrible military conflict with Japan. Japan is no small nation, and they have a big military industrial complex as well. But I don't think they will risk it. They will create some statements, but nothing more than that. Even though, because they already have the US bases, so I don't think they will risk it, because if Japan becomes involved, that will mean that the US will become involved as well. And I don't think the United States wants a direct military confrontation with China. So that is something that it will continue. As you know, there will be also some missile tests, and it's just more of the reactions that we know. And like I said in some previous episodes, this is an escalation. Before Nancy Pelosi, there were some other legislators in the island, including famously or infamously Senator Rick Scott, which is trying to push this legislation to give the President of the United States war powers to intervene in Taiwan should China invade. So yes, it is continuing the provocation. This is only the pinnacle of the provocation. It's not the start. It wasn't out of the blue that all this started. So it is also interesting. For example, we have a declaration from Raymond Green, which is the deputy head of the de facto US Embassy in Taipei, which said the United States no longer sees Taiwan as a problem in our relations with China. We see that as an opportunity to advance our shared vision for a free and open Indo-Pacific. What this means, in my opinion, is that they are using Taiwan to create problems in the region, and what they see as a free and open Indo-Pacific, it means free and Indo-Pacific means the region being dominated by the United States and their allies. That's what they want to do. So this is an interesting piece by Daniel Davis from this website that is called 1945. He says Pelosi's Taiwan trip is one giant mistake. It's an interesting piece, and he makes some interesting points. Basically says that there is no critical interest for the US in the region. He makes the point that the military of China is very capable, but I'm going to highlight a few things that he says. China is today a nation with a modern navy, air force, and ground force. They may not be a complete peer competitor to the United States in terms of global capacity, but in the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait, they have significant advantages over our Pacific air and sea fleets. As I have written in the past, it will be foolish for the US to fight a war with China over Taiwan. We will have too many disadvantages, and China will be in the superior military position. So this is what people forget. They just see numbers and they see, okay, the United States has so many airplanes, so many tanks, so many military personnel, but in the area, in the region, they are overpowered by China, and this is significant because the United States is not going to move all the resources they have globally to a single point. They won't do it. So that's why they say this is significant. He also points out that China will almost certainly not attack our forces in an unprovoked manner, and I want to highlight unprovoked. So if they don't see any reason to attack US forces, they will not do it. However, he says it is entirely possible that Beijing could fight US forces if we make a move to militarily defend Taiwan. In that event, Beijing could inflict a severe blow to our air and sea fleets in the Pacific. We will still retain the global advantage, but the cost to our men and women in uniform, our ships and our planes will be catastrophic and wholly unnecessary. So I agree with him. Not everyone in the West has this kind of clear opinion of what is the situation, but he doesn't represent the political class. He just represents someone who can think independently. And then again, in the region, there is this recent development that the US and South Korea are planning new war games. If you remember, these war games were canceled by President Trump at the time, and I think it was 2017, 2018. The last time they were held was 2017, and then Trump visited North Korea, and starting from 2018, he canceled these drills, which the leadership of North Korea always saw as a provocation, and as part of some of the negotiations that were taking place at the time, the leadership of North Korea wanted those drills to stop, because the last time they had the drills, there was even a nuclear test. So it is expected that now that they are going to do this again, is again ratcheting up the tensions. Provocations everywhere, really. They are provoking different hot spots all over the world, as you have been able to see. They are provoking things in Kosovo. We have the situation in Ukraine. Now we have Taiwan. They are also pushing now for more problems with North Korea. I don't understand what's the point of all that. I really don't see what's the point of creating problems all over the world, but that's the US strategy. US global strategy is creating problems for everyone. But overall, I see a tendency that since now Russia has been subject to so many sanctions, is closer now to China politically, diplomatically, even militarily. They are cooperating closely. And after this incident with Taiwan, already Russia stated that they support China 100%. So now I really don't see, for example, why Russia will be willing to enforce sanctions on North Korea. Probably now North Korea will have some kind of respite, and Russia will allow a lot of things to go into North Korea. Well, probably some trade will go through Russia from North Korea. I think Russia will see no reason to continue enforcing the sanctions on North Korea, and there is nothing they can do to either North Korea or Russia. More sanctions will be meaningless, and also China will have also no more restrictions on their behavior, international behavior towards North Korea or to Russia. So far, there hasn't been any direct military aid to Russia in the situation in Ukraine. Not that they need it. I don't think it's needed, but now they can be more openly supplying Russia with things they need, for example, computer chips or anything that they will need for their military industry, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. So this is going to be just more of the consequences of all these actions that the US is taking globally. I don't know if they saw this happening, but it seems like they're actually making China and Russia become closer and closer and closer every time. And this is a good thing for Russia and for China, not for the collective West. So I don't know who planned all these actions, but certainly if this wasn't the objective, which I doubt this will be the objective, well, it certainly backfired in a major way. So let me know what you think about all this, and as always, I want to remind you of the opportunity to help support my work with donations. In the description of every episode, I include information about different platforms you can use to support me with donations. If you want to, you can also share this episode in social media, and subscribe. I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for watching.